Hi again, it's Maureen Calamia, and today I'm going to talk to you about how to feng shui your home office, which is such an important topic right now because so many people have had to work from home. If we're lucky enough, we have that ability to do that. And our home spaces may not be best suited for a work environment. So I'm going to do my best to cover a bunch of different tips that you can use to really maximize where you work in your space. First, the most important um, piece of this is where you're actually working in your home. So if you are working in a space that is very noisy and has lots of distractions, that could be very bad for you. It depends on your personality, right? So if you're someone who really loves having kind of that background noise and movement going on, that's great. But if you're not, if you're somebody who really needs to buckle down and focus, and those distractions are challenging for you, then you might want to consider creating another space to do your work. So, um, things to kind of consider when you're looking for that space is um, where is there natural light? Where might you have views of nature, which is really, really great for a work environment? And where it feels good. And then of course consider that element of, do I want it private or not? You know, what kind of suits the way I work? Okay, so I'm just going to interject here with a few different clients that I've worked with. And one client, actually, this happens a lot. People maybe use a piece of their basement for their home office. And that, again, this is very personal, and what kind of a situation you're in. But if you do have a basement available and want to work there, basements tend to be very low energy because of the lack of light. But if you happen to have a basement that has really big windows, that can be fine. And nature views. So those are really, really important to our feeling of, well, essentially, it's our mood while we work is greatly impacted by nature views and by natural light. Um, just remember that when you're working in an office building, what is the most coveted space? It's a window with a view, right? So think about that when you're looking for a space in your home. If you happen to have a house that are you using like a guest room, there's some pitfalls to that. It depends on how often you have guests. But what I do recommend is that you don't have the room that's fully functional for a guest if you have them once or twice a year, yet is you're like quarantined into a tiny little corner. I would suggest make the room workable for you, which is say 95% of the time the room is used. And then when you have a guest, then move things around and make it more doable for your guest. I highly recommend, if your office is not in such a great place, again, maybe it's too many distractions around. Maybe there's not enough natural light. Maybe it has really no views of nature. I highly recommend to people to consider like a mobile office. So you still have your stationary office, and that's where you're going to keep all your supplies. If you have a desktop, that's where you're going to have your desktop. But if you do have an iPad or a laptop, or even have the ability to work on paper and pen, if that's what your tools of choice, you're able to kind of move around your space to take advantage of the sun and the views. So, for instance, in my home, I've got my home office, yet I find myself, depending on my mood, grabbing my laptop and going onto the kitchen table in the morning. Now, I happen to have very few people in my house right now, so I do get privacy for the majority of the day. And I really enjoy the southern exposure of the light and the views. Sometimes I even go out on my deck. There's options, and I love to have them because I'm just kind of one of those people. So consider that. Now, your desk. I'm going to share my screen because I definitely want to share something called command position. So notice here that I just kind of created a little outline of a particular office that is rectangular. It's just basically a basic room. So one of the things that I find people with home offices do very often is they actually put the desk up against a wall, and this way the room then is multi-use. You can have it as your workout room, guest room, as like we said. Um, Also, it's the function of the type of desk that you get. Very often, desks come where they have maybe a wall, unit above it, and those will need to be against a wall. They need to be kind of secured against a wall sometimes. I often have clients say, well, if I don't have it against the wall, how do I deal with all of the wires? So I'm going to share a cool little tip that I use in my home office. Now, I actually have my desk. See, this is kind of like floating in the middle of the room. I have my desk up against the window. And so basically, this side of the desk is here. So just imagine it's moved a few feet up. So that gives a great opportunity to get that sunlight and views, um, but and also all of the equipment, all of the wires can hang off that side of the desk because it's against the wall, and then they're plugged in on this wall. So that's how I get away with that. Now, one of the things that I'm going to highlight here, which you're seeing in this image, is the positioning of the desk. It is really, really important in order for your mood, in order for a feeling of being able to concentrate and focus, and if you're able to concentrate and focus, you will then have the ability to be inspired and creative in your work. Now, regardless of what you do, you have to be able to tap into creativity and inspiration, I am sure. So, there's something called command position. It's also known as power position. Why? Because you are in command, or you're feeling in your power when you sit in this position. And there's 3 rules. One is, the most important one, is that you have a full view of that open doorway. Or, if the door's closed, you have a full view of that doorway. If that door is open, you'd be able to see who's standing there. Why is that important? Because on a primitive psychological level, we are still in this kind of need to have safety and security in our everyday life. So if you can see if somebody's standing in that doorway, there's a level of confidence that no one is going to be coming up behind you to stab you in the back, literally and figuratively. So having that also on a very symbolic and metaphorical level, you're able to see what's coming at you, meaning you're able to see opportunities as they arise. So this is really, really invaluable to get yourself in command position. So that's number 1. Have a view of the door. And oh, by the way, even if you live alone or you're in the house the majority of time alone, it doesn't matter, because your primitive mind will not allow you to rest or be able to fully focus if you don't have this view of the door. Okay. Number two kind of goes along with number one, and that is having a solid wall behind you, like I have here. There's a solid wall behind me, and that gives me a feeling of being protected. Again, no one's going to come up behind me and stab me in the back. Okay, and now the third rule is that you don't want to be directly in line with the door. So, like, you don't want the desk here or here, sitting over here. This would be getting a the full brunt of chi coming into your room, which is very distracting and disturbing to your energy. So, just to reiterate, you want a view of the door, you want a solid wall behind you, and you don't want to be directly in line with the door. Now, if you go Maureen, there's no way I can get command position for my home office. This is what I highly suggest. Be able to at least see behind you what is coming at you by placing a mirror. So if your, say, desk is up against this wall, put a mirror somewhere on this wall that you will be able to see the door behind you. And I can attest to this because I was working in a cubicle when I first started studying Feng Shui in an office. And as soon as I put this little mirror up in my cubicle, I definitely felt a huge difference. I would be able to see people walking behind me, no problem. And when somebody hesitated and stopped, before they even called me, I knew they were there. And then I turned around. So it prevented me being startled, which is a horrible feeling. Okay, something else on this floor plan is the distance between the desk and the wall. You need to make sure there's at least 3 feet or 36 inches between the wall and your desk to give you ample room to move around at your desk. Super, super important. So I'm going to stop sharing for a moment. I want to talk now a little bit about your desk. Okay. What type of desk are you working on? What type of surface? It's important. Is it too small for your work? Do you feel really like limited and frustrated because you don't have enough room to maybe lay out your files or whatever it is you're working on? Then your desk would be constraining you in your business. Okay, if you have a super huge desk, it may be symbolic of you having too much ego in your business. Kind of the bigger the desk, the bigger the ego. So it's kind of like that Goldilocks thing. A lot of things in Feng Shui are, one extreme isn't good, the other extreme isn't good. It's always best to kind of be in the middle. So having a desk surface, a work surface that is just like fits your style, fits your ability to do your work, really important. Your chair. So often I see clients that are sitting on like an old abandoned wooden kitchen chair. And that is definitely not the message you want to give to your work. You don't have mobility. So it's kind of rigid. It doesn't feel that good and comfortable. Honor yourself by getting yourself a good executive chair with wheels. Really important to how you feel in your business when you sit at your desk. Feng Shui is so much about symbolism. Just remember this quote is, "Our house is a mirror of ourselves." So we're just talking about the home office now. Really be critical about what the symbolism is of your office space and what it's saying about you and about how you feel about your work. So, something like organization. Being organized at work in our workspace is so important. I can't tell you how many times I work with clients that say that they feel blocked in their work, they're not getting opportunities, financially, they're striving, and nothing seems to materialize. And that can be very, very frustrating. So, my first question is how organized is your office? And I usually get a laugh. So if that's you right now, really think about it. Think about what is keeping you back from moving forward in your career or your business. Organize yourself. Organize your financials, organize your paperwork. God knows we have computers, but we still have tons of paper. Get filing cabinets, get help if you need to. And this is the time to do it, especially now. If you have extra time, not everyone does, but this is the time to get yourself organized for your business. Do you find that you have stuff that belongs somewhere else in the house that has nothing to do with your business there? Move it out. Kind of create a little sanctuary for your office space and do not allow other people in the family to dump things in it or yourself. If it belongs in the dining room, put it in the dining room. If it belongs in the garage, put it in the garage. Really, really be vigilant about that. So important. You know, you're talking about, getting opportunities. I had a client once that in order to get to her desk, she had to climb over boxes and piles of paper. And this person was super smart, super organized in so many ways. It was really eye popping when I saw how she was working, and she didn't put two and two together. So when I shared that with her, boom, she cleared that path, and boom, she started moving forward in her business. So think about that path to your office as being very, very literally connected with how you're moving forward in your career. Symbolism, so important. Creativity and inspiration. We're going to be talking about this in another minute. Plants. Plants. Every single consultation I do, I recommend plants. I have to say, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe a handful of people I've never had to say that to, but almost everybody needs more live plants in their space. Why is it important to have live plants in your office? Well, live plants do so much. I mean, that's a whole nother webinar I could do. But plants really make a space feel alive. And when a space feels alive, there is more access to creativity and inspiration. Plants make us feel good. They improve our mood. If our mood is better, again, we're going to improve our focus, our creativity, all of that. Space. Let me also say about plants. They improve the air quality. And because our offices tend to have a bunch of equipment around, they you may have heard the term electromagnetic fields. It's a real thing. And electromagnetic fields, or also known as EMFs, they deaden the air. They deaden the quality of energy. So they're draining our life force. They're needed. We need our cell phones. We need our printers. We need our computers. So to counterbalance it, live plants. And put a bunch. I say at least one decent sized plant for every piece of equipment. Okay, space. Now this is a little feng shui tip here that's really fun, and I want to hear about it if it worked for you. If you have clients or you have an area for new projects, new business, clear that out. Clear out your client folders, kind of archive, make space. You're essentially making space for new business to come in. If your files are jam packed and there's no room, it's like you're energetically telling the universe, I'm full. I don't have room for new business. So periodically go through there, file away folders, however you keep your documents. Then I would like you to take some blank folders. I mean, I'm old fashioned maybe, but I actually use folders, blank folders, and put them in there. And have all this, it doesn't have to be empty, but have space with brand new folders ready for your new projects. And I want to hear how that works. Something else about space, if you have like bookshelves, and many people in their office have big built-in bookshelves or units with all books, take a look at them. Are they jam-packed as well? Again, it's very symbolic of not having any more room for knowledge and for learning and growth and wisdom. So edit out your books. It's really, really important. Make space for your books to breathe. Make space for new knowledge, because we're always, all of us, should always be in the mode to learn. Not just learn, but apply what we learn. So do that. And also, I had another client where her office looked great. She shared it with her husband. They were in command position. They had plans. They had file cabinets. They had great art. But then I looked under her desk and there were boxes and piles of papers. And she couldn't even move completely under her desk because there's no room for her legs. So she was basically outside her desk, like typing. So she was hiding her clutter. If that's you, really make sure you create space again for your feet to be able to move forward, for your body to feel comfortable ergonomically in your desk, at your desk. Okay, now I want to share again with you the Bagua map. So just going here. So the Bagua map is a very cool tool that we use in Feng Shui that is applied to our spaces. And it's basically, we look at it in this way. And what happens is the doorway to our room, because we're just applying this on your home office right now. And I'm assuming it's a room, not just a corner of a space. But if it is the corner, well, I'll get there next. So just make believe it's a room and the doorway is somewhere along this wall. And so it's the doorway's either in wisdom, career, or helpful people. And so now we're going to look at that same office with this overlaid. So here we go. Here's your office, and you have the door here. So you're entering through knowledge and wisdom, which is really lovely. Ahead of you is wealth. I don't need to explain that anymore. Also fame and reputation. So, fame as, being known for what you do, and also having a good reputation, and also getting recognized. So if you work for a company or even have your own business, getting recognized from the community. Then we have partnership. Then we have, I'm going in a circle here, creativity, and also completion. It's known as completion as well, which, some people have difficulty completing things. So that's an important area. Then we have helpful people and networking. So this is like anybody who's a client, who's a vendor, a champion for what you do, somebody who refers people to you. Just think about your network And perhaps if you're, say, writing a book and your editor is your helpful person, right? Um, there's so many different helpful people in our lives. It could be a good friend, it could be an employee is your helpful person, an admin or something. Okay, so that's really important. Then, of course, we have career and opportunity. So this is really where everything in your career comes together, and opportunity. And finally, the last gua that I didn't mention was new beginnings and growth. And this is so important, growth, right? So that is really important. So we want to learn how to activate these different areas of your home office using the Bagua map. So I'm just going to go through a few of these areas that are the most important. I could talk about all of them in detail, but we're just going to go through a few. So, number one is wealth, right? So plants, like I said before, fresh, live, healthy plants. And if you need a little guidance on an area that might not have good light, which is one problem, or if you have a tendency to kind of neglect your plants, and I'm not purporting to do that, but there are definitely plants that can absorb a little neglect. They're not very needy. So I have blogs on that. You can go to my website, luminous-spaces.com. All right. So like I said, it would be good to have at least one plant per equipment that you have in your office. This would be a great place, but of course, all along those windows is too, but this happens to be wealth, and plants are great there. Another thing is in fame and reputation, if you happen to have a wall that you can do this, I love to suggest diplomas, any certificates of things that you're really proud of, or maybe even a piece of your work, whatever that is, that you're really proud of. It's like what you want to be known for. So if you received an award, wow, that's awesome. It would be great to put it here. And it could be several things, but don't clutter it up too much. Okay, so if this happens to be the positioning of your desk, it's great to have an image of a mountain behind us. Yeah, I don't have one yet, but I am getting something. So, an image of a mountain, because mountain is strength and support. And there's a lot more symbolism that I can't get into here. But having an image of a mountain behind you, whatever image you love, is great. Now, ahead of you, where you're viewing, this happens to be new beginnings and growth in this office. New beginnings, as you would imagine, is a new day, right? So the sun is rising. So an image of a sunrise would be great to have in new beginnings. And regardless of what is on the, what area of the Bagua map is opposite you, I just really want to share how important it is to have something that you love there. Just makes you feel so good and inspired in your work. I mean, for some people, it could be photos of their family. Other people might say, "Ah, that distracts me. I need to stay focused." So it's something that is symbolic to them of inspiration in their work. Whatever that is for you, would be really great for you to be able to view that from your desk. Career. This is a great place for a tabletop fountain, because it's the water element in this area, and it is, having it turned on, it's actually like moving energy and activating your career and opportunities, Gua. This is really, really fabulous. And I have to just share that in my home office, I had a beautiful stone fountain, and it started getting messed up, and I just was really reluctant on pulling it apart and trying to figure it out. And it was a good, I don't know, 6 months or so. And so I finally did it. I saw how easy it was, cleaned it out, got it working again, And oh my gosh, opportunities just kept coming in. So, really great opportunities for my career. Some more long term, some more short term. So, really great. So, water fountains are great, but if you don't like water fountains or you don't have the room for it, even hanging like a metal wind chime in this area could be really nice. It could just be very pretty. I have one with like little butterflies, whatever you like, or it could be one of those more substantial ones that make beautiful sound while you're working. And lastly, the last tip I have is helpful people in networking. This is also a really important area of your home office. One suggestion could be some kind of cork board, or um, those that are creative out there will have a great idea for this. But you could put up business cards of people that you want to be your helpful people. You could create a vision board of people that you want to get help from there, um, or photos of those people. So if you do, like, say, work on it with a team, you could put a great group picture there of your team. This is, or, pictures of your clients. Or how about if you get testimonials from clients, you could frame them and put them here. That would be really great. So I hope you enjoyed this segment on feng shui in your home office. I would love to hear how it's worked for you. Again, my website is luminous-spaces.com. My name is Maureen Calamia, and I hope to see you again. Have a great day.